Ever wondered why the words compound interest are considered the most powerful words in the world of investing? It's because these two words are phenomenal and they essentially hold the key to investment success and getting rich. In fact, going by historical precedents, creating generational wealth and becoming financially free is largely a function of making more money. And the smartest way to accomplish this is by adopting and understanding how compound interest works. In this video, we've detailed how you can make your money work for you and lead you to riches by carefully applying the principle of compound interest. Ready? Let's dive right in. According to the world's most famous physicist, Albert Einstein, the concept of compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. The most successful investor on the planet, Warren Buffett, also once said regarding these two words, "My wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest." To investors globally, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world, given that it works exclusively with time and affects everyone the same way. While many humans for a long period believed that simply saving more money could help them get rich and attain some level of financial freedom, the world has since evolved, and the most reliable path to wealth creation in the modern age has been through investments and earning via compounding interest. When you earn via compound interest, you're not just earning interest on the principal balance you invested. You also earn substantial returns on your interest, which are typically added back to your principal balance to enable you to earn even more returns. Now, this is the most crucial element in compounding interest. The fact that the interests you earn are added back into your principal at different time intervals, which can be daily, monthly, annually, or even continually. The secret here, however, is that the more frequently the interests you earn on your investment are compounded, the more rapidly your principal balance would grow, and the richer you'd be over time. For context, let's assume you've made an investment of $5,000 at an annual interest rate of 5%. By the end of the first year, you'd earn $250 in interest, which, when added to your principal balance, raises the value of your investment now to $5,250. In the second year, you'd be earning 5% on your higher balance of $5,250, which would be equal to $262.50. which in turn raises your new principal balance to $5,512.50 at the end of the year. But what happens when you go on to leave this investment untouched for 10 years? This is where the magic of compound interest comes to play. You'd end up with an investment balance of $8,235.05 by the end of the 10th year. This would imply that you earned $3,235.05 in compounded interest after a 10-year investment cycle just by making your money work for you. Compound interest is one core concept that the super rich, who make a lot of money and who never appear to work for it, understand and utilize in making themselves even richer. But your grasp of the concept of compound interest would still not be complete if you do not have a thorough understanding of the key factors and the different variables that come to play in yielding those high returns. These core variables are in 5 major categories. Number 1. Your starting principal. Compound interest undoubtedly adds up over time, but the amount of returns you'd receive after your investment cycle does still largely depend on how much your initial or principal investment was. If you can afford to invest a very high amount from the onset, then you'd be in for a surprise when this initial investment begins to multiply exponentially. If not, you can still take advantage of compound interest with whatever little principal you're able to start with. Number 2. The frequency of compounding. This is just as important as being able to invest a huge initial amount. The pace at which interest is compounded is the most important determinant of how rapidly your principal balance grows. While other options exist, the most legit and most common compounding is annually. So, it's crucial that you thoroughly understand how often you'd be earning compounds. Number 3. Interest. Wouldn't it just be foolhardy if you had no idea how the interest you earn on your investment is being derived? Naturally, when the interest rate is high, you earn more money, but the same thing applies when you take out a loan. The higher the interest rate in this case, the more money you'd owe to your bank. Number 4. Duration of investment. Compound interest only works its magic when you leave it untouched for a long period of time, ideally from 10 to 30 years or even more. The longer you continue to hold on to your investment, the greater your chance of multiplying your principal investment in multiple folds and the more wealth you have succeeded in creating. Number 5. Frequency of deposits and withdrawals. These are very common during lots of investment cycles and respectively affect the returns you ultimately earn on your investments. The pace at which you add to your principal balance or take away from it will have a substantial impact and make a big difference over the long run. In the digital world that we live in today, it's now very easy to calculate the potential returns from an investment when interest is compounded over a specified period. To do this, you can easily use any of the online calculators available to get around the math. But while calculating, it's important that you divide the interest rate by the number of times it's to be compounded within every year of the investment. Your interest rate can be a daily average, a monthly, or an annual average, depending on the frequency at which it's compounded. So, once you've acquired a thorough understanding of all these variables that come into play while compounding interest, it's also important to understand and be familiar with how you can get compound interest to work for you. The most important element to achieving this is to be patient and give yourself time. With compound interest, time is the ultimate decider. The rule of thumb here is to start investing toward your retirement as early as possible. This is because the earlier you start, the longer you'll be able to afford your investment to grow. When you start early, you're able to grow the bulk of your retirement fund through compounding and possibly even retire early yourself. Mastering how to make compound interest work for you is a great equalizer, as irrespective of your background, there's no limit to how much wealth you can create via compound interest. No matter who you are or where you're from, it's always possible to use compound interest to your advantage. As it's common with many investments, earning using compounding interest can be similarly tough in the earlier years, especially when your returns are still like little snowballs. But these snowballs from the early years could soon grow into an avalanche, especially when you leave your investment untouched. This is essentially what wealth creation entails, and it's only when your investment returns snowball into an avalanche does compound interest begin to work in your favor, and your wealth begins to naturally attract more wealth. As an average earner, compound interest is truly one great path that you can explore to become rich and attain financial freedom. While many people continue to hold on to the wrong belief that they don't have enough money to make good money from the stock market, the hard truth is that they really don't need that much. For context, with the average income in the US today being $50,000 annually, as a 25-year-old earning $50K a year, all you really need to do is to invest $5,000 of this annually in the stock market and hope for a 10% return in the least. By the time you retire at 65, each $5,000 you have invested would have compounded into $2,434,221 over the 40 years. This will only be possible through compounding interest. And if you're lucky to find a great investment with a higher return, then your compounded earnings would be much higher. Rest assured that nothing can stop your investment from growing, and you'd continue to earn every second of the day. Compound interest challenges your patience and can be your greatest friend and surest roadmap to riches, especially if you are able to stay consistent. So do away with all of your flawed beliefs about compound interest today and get in on the action. In 1 or 2 decades, you might already be an early retiree and the newest millionaire in town. As long as you're patient and disciplined, compound interest is likely to reward you. Let us know in the comments section what some of your best stock market investments are and for how long you've been holding them. As always, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Do turn on your notifications as well for more intriguing finance videos like this one.